3 years ago, I started the Rescued Film Project. And what we do is look all over the world for rolls of film that have been shot but never processed. I then developed this film to try and rescue any images that they might still contain. Now, this makes me the very first person who has ever seen any of these pictures, and I spend countless hours and thousands of dollars acquiring, processing, and scanning film. And today, we have rescued over 25,000 pictures. The images in the archive range from the 1940s all the way up until the late 2000s. And every picture that we're going to be looking at together today is actually from the Rescued Film Project archive. And many of them until today have never been seen by anybody except myself. So when I process this film, scanning in the images, seeing them for the very first time, the same questions always go through my head over and over and over, no matter what the picture is of. Why was this never processed? What happened to the photographer? And where are they now? Unfortunately, for most of these pictures, those questions will probably go unanswered. But many of you might be looking at some of these photos and thinking, so what? These are just some random pictures of random people I don't know or I don't care about. But take a second and change your perspective and look at this picture right now as if you're looking at it in 50 years. I don't do this because I'm trying to find some history-altering images. I do this because I know that whether we realize it or not, every picture we take documents our collective history as human beings. You see, we take photos for ourselves of moments that are important to us, but in doing so, we also create a snapshot of what it is like to be alive right now. What clothes are in style? What excites us? Birthdays, apparently. Where we go. And what we find important. But as you're looking at these photos right now, realize you were never meant to see them. I was never meant to see them. Because all of these photos were shot on film, and you would never see them unless you had a real personal connection with the photographer. If you were in their homes, looking through their photo albums or seeing them hung on walls. But today, we take photos knowing and even hoping that people we have no personal connection with will see them. Like them, share them, strangers. Back when these photos were taken, the thought of a complete stranger seeing them would be completely odd. But today it seems just commonplace. When I started the Rescued Film Project, my initial goal was to reconnect these images with the photographers. You know, these days, because this is where I am. These days, because of this, we take photos at an enormous rate. Because of this, the internet and social media has changed why we take pictures. We can curate exactly how we want our lives to appear to others. We take 15 photos and post one, the perfect one, and discard the rest. This photo, by today's standards, is not perfect. Almost no one is looking at the camera or even paying attention. Today, this would probably be one of those 15 photos that got discarded. But this photo is honest. It is genuine. It is a true and accurate representation of this exact moment in these people's lives. And back when this was shot on film, this would not have been discarded. And that is why I do what I do. So why don't we throw away photographs? Physical photographs, negative slides. Why do we have those same 2 rolls of film that we shot forever ago that we just pass on from one junk drawer to the next and the next over the course of years? Why don't we throw them away? Why are we all looking at this image right now of this person trying to tell his story, this stranger? Why do we care? Why do you care? Why do I care? Because we all inherently know that photos are history. Photos are one of our only defenses against time. These photos might be the only evidence that these people ever existed. And in a time when we discard images without a second thought, to me, it's an absolute tragedy that the only people who truly know how important these images are might never see them. And so when I started the Rescued Film Project, my initial goal was to reconnect these images with the people they belong to, the photographers. Unfortunately, 3.5 years and 25,000 images later, that's only happened once. But what I have noticed is that because, again, these photos document our collective history as human beings, we can all relate in even small ways to so many of the photos, and so many of these experiences that these people are having. And so we kind of step in as surrogates and adopt them and give these photos a meaning again and enjoy them for those who aren't able to. My generation is one of the last that will span the gap between film and digital. And film is still around, but it's primarily being used only by professional or niche photographers. We almost never use it anymore to capture the everyday moments in our lives. Birthdays, Christmas, Halloween, vacations, and of course, cats. Lots and lots of cats. Dogs too. These are still the same types of moments that we're taking pictures of today, but now we are just taking a lot more of them. And while with digital, the quality of our photos has improved, because we are taking so many, the content of each photo somehow seems less significant. So, if you could only take 6 pictures, how would that change what you take a picture of? In losing the tangible connection of film, we really have started to begin to lose the tangible connection to our past. Our lives now live in digital photo libraries on phones and computers. We are constantly looking back, never looking forward. It's all about snap, post, move on. Without those physical objects, those photos, those negatives, the slides, those albums, we almost never look at the images we create anymore. We find ourselves creating moments that will make for a great photo instead of actually just having a moment and then using a photo to document it and not being so caught up in trying to capture the moment. But when you think about it, it does make sense, right? Remember, your photos might be the only evidence that you ever existed. And so, of course, we want the photos we leave behind to portray a life well lived. But is portraying a life and curating some glamorous collection of images more important than actually living your life and creating a genuine collection of images that truly and accurately represents what your life was like? And so, next time you take out your phone to snap a photo, just have a moment of pause and consider what you're shooting. Realize that there really are no small moments. There are no insignificant moments. And realize that your photos aren't yours. Your photos will be used and are being used to tell a greater story of who we are. And so my hope is that we begin to apply a little bit of this film approach or film mentality to our digital photography. And there's 2 very easy ways to start doing this. Number 1, just limit yourself to taking 6 photos a day, max. And then number 2, if any one of those photos isn't perfect, don't discard it. Post it. Share it. Save it. By doing this, we will begin to start finding the meaning behind our photos again. And we will begin to create a personal and collective history that is truly genuine. Now, before I get off the stage, to me, this seems like a very appropriate time to actually take a photo. So, selfie mode here. All right, everybody, say cheese. Thank you.